What is PICE? PICE is a framework that's central to everything that we do here at Be Micro, and it looks at your personas, your influencers, the content, and also engagement. And what this does is it focuses and really drills down on creating a marketing strategy that is focused in on the personas, on your target audience, looking at who the influencers are and who influences them so you can get in front of a wider audience easily. And then also the content that you've got to look to create to engage them, and finally what channels they're on and where can you actually engage with them. So what I'm going to run through today is an overview of what that looks like. So first of all, we've got personas. So this is all about looking at the sort of demographics, you know, the needs, the wants, the motivations of the end user, the person you're trying to speak to. What are their goals? You know, what's their day-to-day look like? If you can really get into the mindset of who they are, this is going to help you with then actually speaking to them and actually talking to them in a way and communicating in a way that really resonates and gets them to maybe start, you know, taking an interest in what you're trying to say to them. So that's personas, personal information, demographic, goals, behaviors, motivations, and challenges. After that, it's looking at influencers. So the term influencer marketing is quite broad. It's been quite popularized over since the rise of like Instagram and social media and stuff. So what we're kind of looking at is micro influencers and macro influencers, and there's no real sort of term or definition as to who's a micro influencer or who's a macro influencer, but one of the ways that you can look at it is think of a micro influencer that has an audience and a reach, maybe on social media, maybe they've got an email database, a big audience but for a specific niche and sub-communities or really smaller based community. So if you can get in front of them and work with them and they share something of your message, their audience is likely to believe them because they're an expert on that topic or in that niche area. Your macro influencers, they can be people that just have wider reach, a wider audience, that maybe they're not very specific in terms of sub-communities and niches, but they have a wide spread. So whether or not people would take what they say as gospel and Bible is a different story, but what they will be able to do is get in front of thousands, if not millions of people. The final one, or coming on to the final one, we've got the keywords and the content model. So this one is really central. So if it's anything, you're working towards anything like content marketing, or you hear the term search engine optimization, known as SEO, keywords are key. You know, they're the number one most important thing really, and it forms the foundation of anything to do with digital marketing, anything to do with communication. There's all about terms, keywords. You find your influencers through using keywords. You find the niche and sub-communities through searching on Google, searching on tools, using keywords. So it's paramount, and can't really stress enough how important keywords are. So when we start to look to develop some ideas about how to generate these keywords and playing into the Google algorithms of context and how, you know, content's king is what they say, but also context is queen, because Google and the algorithms, social media, they all understand how these words are synonyms and how they relate and how they draw patterns between one another. So essentially this is what this model is all about, and this is the keyword model. And as you can see, we've got different numbers that break it off. So researching into this, we wanted to really draw patterns between the keywords. So if you can add a lot more context and relevance to what you're talking about, what your website is tagged as, what you're saying on social media, all this really helps and amounts to getting you higher in Google or getting you in front of the right people. And that's something that takes a bit of time to get there, but this model essentially looks at a few things. So it's kind of different for everyone, and depending on what business, it does change, and it changes nearly every time I do the workshops around the content and the keyword modeling. But a rule of thumb really is, number one could be your persona. You know, break your key personas into two. Who are they? And, you know, put as much keywords and descriptive words as you can. You can kind of take it from the persona section, put them into there, and just categorize them. You know, use a load of post-it notes, get them on your Sharpies, put them down there. That's your personas. You know, the next one could be looking at the problem, right? What are the problems, the key problems that you're looking to solve? Break them down into two key problems and then map a load of keywords and terms and descriptive words that are around that problem. You know, go into more detail about what it is and get that down on there. Number three could be your product. You know, what is the product that you're selling, you're offering? All this can be broken down into 2 key bits or 2 key words, and let's elaborate on what the product is. Just anything that springs to mind, you know, a related product, indirect product, something that you talk about the product and just elaborate on it. And then the 4th one is around play, right? So where are you playing? What market, what sector, what vertical, what's the industry look like? Break that down into 2 areas and then generate some more ideas on this. So what this allows you to do is, once you've got all this, is a really key bit of the search engine optimization work, which is all keyword research. So go and finding the volume, seeing how competitive it is, and then kind of getting some research as to, right, this forms the foundation and the basic strategy that will go in with communications, you know, whether that's a content marketing route or an SEO route or some paid ads or social media, whatever it may be, this forms the basis. And if you notice, they were all P's, so if you've ever done any marketing studying, you would have definitely come across the 4 P's. So this is like an evolvement of the 4 P's in today's world, in digital, in social, in the realms of algorithms. The 4 P's can be done and applied here as well. So the final one, moving on, is the engagement stage, and this is the one where really you probably spend a lot of time in the engagement stage in terms of, do I need to be on Pinterest? What's our Pinterest strategy? If your audience isn't on Pinterest and you haven't got a Pinterest strategy because you don't need one, what you need to look at is, where are they and where are they spending time? And then this forms where you need to be engaging and where you need to be spending your time. So activity are the things that you're doing at the moment. What are the things that you're currently doing? Think about your day-to-day terms in terms of marketing output and activities. Write them all down on here and then assign a value to them. In terms of assigning a value, this could be something that it brings. You know, you could do it in a scale of 1 to 10, number it, just kind of attach a value to the activity that you're doing. This bit here is all about the changes, and this is where, you know, we can come in and we start to think, well, what's your action plan? What are the things that you're not doing that we feel will add value, and basically set you off in your action plan going forward. So when you leave the workshop and you've done it and dusted, you've kind of got an idea about, you know what you've been doing, you know the value that it brings, but these are the opportunities that you're not doing and now you can. So that is a run through of the PICE framework. Within that, there's the keyword model, which is the central part really to it all, your personas, your influencers, and then the final bit, the engagement.